Welcome, my 369 nice subscribers. All of you fans who've come crawling back just because Vince McMahon is allegedly in charge. And also welcome to the Catholics who are celebrating Holy Week. And for those who aren't welcome, all of you gossipers who gossip hard on your phones in front of the person you're talking about, you're not welcome here, as well as these types of fans, like Tonight on Dynamite, who hold up signs to their favorite podcast. I think that's alright, like holding a sign up for your favorite podcast is okay, even if it's Jim Cornette. But to be an absolute a-hole, obstructing the view of the people behind you, hate watching the whole show while being on your phone the whole time, you're not welcomed here as well. But yeah, this is my review of AEW Dynamite for the April 5th show. Let's begin. So first off, for the ratings of the show, they managed to get up to 877,000, which is up by 40 or so thousand from last week. So yeah, the ratings are up, but I'm not going to flash it here because you're going to have to subscribe to Brandon Thurston for that. The graph itself looks very interesting, and you should go really subscribe to their Patreon. I'm just going to describe the main segment from that quarter hour that I think was responsible for the number. So yeah, for the first 15 minutes, they're 4,000 short of a million. They're facing off against a Lakers-Clippers game and a Chicago game against the Milwaukee. And let's be honest, AEW is just not at a point of popularity and reputation that the WWE is. And plus, Raw didn't have NBA to deal with, and they had a bad show, still got a good rating, post-WrestleMania. So yeah, back to the graph. We get the predictable drop-off. It's just like a small drop-off, not very significant as we go through the first two matches, but then it spikes up during MJF's segment. It drops back down during Guevara's promo. It drops down even more for the BCC against Jobbers. And after that questionable promo by Danielson, I have a lot of things to say about that. And then it's actually higher than I expected. Like, it's definitely higher than Adam Cole's match, but yeah, they managed to maintain a pretty good endpoint. The problem is they just don't hit 1 million to start. But yeah, All Access got higher ratings as well. And this is an episode where they have Thunder Rosa reply to the shit that Britt Baker says. So yeah, that definitely got me intrigued. I'm gonna finally review that episode. There's just too many things to review. I still have WrestleMania, I still have this, and Grand Princess, oh my god, so many things. So we start the show off with Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson, and Swerve, they don't have a match. I think pretty much everyone knows that Jay White is all elite. I expected him to go to the WWE, I thought he would fit there more, and I didn't think there were enough spots in AEW. Because in the WWE, you have NXT, and you have 2 shows. And if Jay doesn't show up in any of those shows, it would not matter because he would get paid either way. I predicted other members of the Stateside Bullet Club, Kenta, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, but it can still happen. I did not in my wildest dreams consider Jay White, even though I should have. And yeah, he's good. He's a good promo, but in-ring, he's a bit boring, and I don't think there are any spots that would fit Jay White. AEW already has a dominant faction in BCC, they already have a promo faction in JAS, and they already have a cool faction in the House of Black. As for championships, anything less than the TNT title is below Jay White. He could beat Orange, but that would make him a mid-carder. Hobbs just won the belt, he's a heel, and MJF will not drop that belt anytime soon. And he's also a heel who's good on the mic. So I don't know about room for this guy, but who knows? His promo is still a bit untested in a Western setting. We'll see how he does against Ricky Starks. There's no way that Starks wins this feud now, but I'm guessing he's gonna ask for help. That's not Action Andretti. Bullet Club are gonna come in, and it's gonna prompt Starks to get FTR, and I don't know, 2 other people or something. The feud heats up because of Jay, but it wasn't that much before Jay. So yeah, we'll see what Jay can add. So basically here, Starks gets overwhelmed by numbers. He manages to put up a fight, but he gets Blade Runnered. End of segment. So after this is Chris Jericho's promo against Adam Cole. So this sets up the feud between them, and it's basically his bone to pick with Adam. His reasoning for starting shit up is because Cole was too obnoxious with his return. According to Jericho, it made Daniel Garcia look like a fool. This is a bit uncharacteristic in how people are trying to brand Jericho, and his character so far doesn't seem to indicate that he would do something like this, but who knows. I'm guessing it's sort of some flimsy reason that it's about something else, that he's trying to be the wrestling vampire feeding on the youth, but we need Adam Cole's response for that. Instead, Keith Lee comes in and then defends Adam Cole and even cites their rivalry in NXT. And then he ends up challenging Jericho. Jericho backs down. But the match is set, and I think obviously this is a setup for Swerve's new moguls, or like his new associates, after Parker and Trench completely failed. And now Swerve's nowhere to be found. So is this going to be an alliance? Is this going to be just a lead-in? What's happening with House of Black? Yeah, lots of questions, but I guess we're going to have Keith Lee versus Jericho next week. And we'll see how this feud progresses. It's just starting, by the way. Cole and Jericho had their encounter last week, and I'm willing to give it a chance even if this isn't looking very good right now. So for the first actual match of the night, it's House of Black versus the Best Friends. So for this match, AEW talent Sue Beretta returns to drop off the Best Friends to a big pop before they're destroyed. So I like this special entrance because it's one of the things that made Best Friends special, and it's pretty obvious that they're gonna lose. So this is just another thing to like get us on their side, and it sort of makes the match feel like it matters more than it does. So the match itself was a show stealer that leaned pretty one-sided with House of Black, that the Best Friends had to rely on the House of Black making mistakes to get their stuff in. And the match breaks down pretty quickly. And I think this is because, like tactically, in kayfabe, if the match stayed within the rules, and that if House of Black were allowed to dictate the match, they were allowed to cut the ring in half, they would just win. Power levels are so far off. Like House of Black would dominate anyone 1v1. So Best Friends have to get into situations where they outnumber one or two members of House of Black. And I also like that Malachi isn't made to look too weak, because in the trios he usually is the whipping boy. One of his teammates hit their finisher and then Malachi just goes for the pin. Come on, you're the leader of your faction. Use your henchmen. I think that Buddy or Brody should be like whipping boys. Malachi should be like a phenom who never yields control. You need to make him feel stronger and more special, so when the time comes where they'll be the top heels in the company, it would actually be believable. But they're still so over. So I guess that aspect hasn't worn off yet, but you're gonna have to start it sometime. Like when you elevate these dudes. And in this match, it just happens once, and it's a triple team, so it's understandable. And I think they made up for it with Malachi not falling for Orange Cassidy's shenanigans. Orange tries his soft kicks, and even though he's a lot more serious now, he uses this as a joke, he gets his head kicked in by Malachi. Nice spot. There are two weight spots. One was masked very well, since Orange takes time to set up his hands in pockets dive. So it looked like he made Buddy and Malachi wait too long, and so they got ready and then caught him. For the second one though, they got Brody King on camera, like just looking like he's waiting for the move. Second one looked pretty bad. But there's this one in between, where Trent does it, and it looks very well timed. There's no setup. They didn't need to catch him here. They could have just taken the move, but good on them to make House of Black look stronger. So they set things up with Anna Jay and Julia Hart, as well as LFI versus House of Black. So technically House of Black are tweeners, since the fans cheer them when they make their entrance, and they're all evil looking in their promo, so I guess they're tweeners against the heel LFI, like the more clearly defined heels. It's gonna be awesome, but I hope like there's more build to it instead of just a match. So as for the climax, I think it's fun, but it's pretty run-of-the-mill. Nothing much crazy happens like in the elite matches, but that's an unfair standard to hold over the Best Friends. Climax was fun, but it wasn't epic enough. As for the top 3 spots, number 3 is when Orange fake kicks and then he gets his head kicked in by Malachi Black. Spot number 2 is when Orange is caught by Buddy and Malachi as it takes too long for him to set up his hands in pockets dive. And number 1 spot is the pile driver to all members of House of Black by Trent Beretta. So as for the finish, it's very sudden, some roll-ups, and then a stomp by Buddy Matthews on Chuck Taylor. So yeah, this match was real fun. I think it's TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard. Okay, so after this is the Christian Cage and Luchasaurus tease. So I guess the lawsuit is over and done with, and Luchasaurus can keep his mask because we get this like short segment where Christian presents Luchasaurus, who has this new cool piece of gear. But I don't know where this goes. This might just result in some squash matches on Dynamite, Rampage, or Dark. I think with everything going on, there's no room for Luchasaurus right now. He shouldn't have been like teased to return right away. Like I think Christian and Luchasaurus should have taken like a month off or like a Ring of Honor off or whatever. A fun idea would be to have them team up with MJF. Yes, Christian and MJF and Luchasaurus. It's gonna be redundant having Christian Cage and MJF like in the same faction, but that's a trios against the Pillars trios. That would be a nice way to pass the feud by. And it's also like a story point with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, but it's sort of a retread with Christian. Yeah, you know what? They should have just taken a vacation. There's no room for them in the current landscape of AEW storylines. Even if there should be, because Christian Cage was awesome on the mic. So yeah, for the next match, it's Jamie Hayter versus Rijo. And this was a weird pairing. It's a break from the Outcast storyline that's starting to lose steam every week, since their motivation seems to be just to paint people, embarrass people, get these moral victories. They just do the same thing all over again every week. So I guess I like this sort of break in that monotony. Instead, we have like basically a Stardom alumni against a Tokyo Joshi Pro alumni. Jamie Hayter from Stardom, Rijo from Tokyo Joshi Pro. And there wasn't much Divas awkwardness, only a little coming from Rijo. So this is a really good match that needed crowd reaction. Like never have I needed more crowd reaction than I did here. Because the mid-match slows down so much. They try to go for these hope spots, these struggle spots, but the crowd was just quiet. Actually, fuck Long Island. They won't know a good match if it hit him in the face. But yeah, a huge portion of that mid-match happened during commercial, so I guess that's why Jamie slowed the match down too much. But after that, after the commercial, the speed gets to a point that I think like the whole match should have been. Should have been back and forth. It should have been great counters, struggles for moves, and generally like back and forth fighting. All spots of the match happened to build up to the finish actually. So yeah, for top 3 spots of the match, number 3 is the finish. We have 2 Haterades for the win. Number 2 spot is the Brain Buster that's countered into a DDT. And then number 1 is the double running knees that gets Rijo a near fall. So for this match, I think they could have done more. They could have made this more epic all throughout. Mid-match just slowed it down too much. So yeah, TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard. I enjoyed the first match more. So after this is an Outcast promo. Since they don't make a run-in, we get a promo. And it's cut pretty alright. And it's unintentionally funny because they finally state their goal and it's to get the women's championship away from Jamie. But then Renee asks a very good question. There's 3 of you and there's only 1 belt. How is this gonna work? Will they fight amongst each other? So yeah, it did make them look a bit dumb, but it gives them more personality. I actually like them more now. But yeah, they need to have like an actual goal, like they should bring in other people. Like Mercedes, like Trinity, and hell, Athena's right there. Maybe the number 2 best women's wrestler in the entire roster. And is ROH champion. So bring her in, please. Bring anyone in. Escalate the feud. Because the spray paint just isn't gonna do it. They've spent their Willow and Ruby storyline. And now there's nothing much really holding these 2 factions together in a feud. So yeah, escalate this, Tony Khan. As for JAS versus the Acclaimed, so I totally forgot about this plotline that happened last week, where the JAS, or just 2.0, and Jake Hager tried to bribe the Acclaimed with a good time so that they'll join the JAS. This is not a bad idea since they're pretty much sports entertainers, but the JAS is so crowded already. But yeah, I'm just glad that 2.0 are doing something independently, even if it's obvious that they're gonna lose. I just hope it connects somehow to the Jericho storyline, and then maybe we can have Adam Cole and the Acclaimed team up. But yeah, as for like 2.0's methods, I think this is too low effort. Like just taking them out for a good time, that's not gonna get you the girl. You're gonna have to save them from attackers, you're gonna have to back them up during their matches, and you need to basically do what Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy did. A complete bribery isn't a good way to start a relationship. So yeah, Max Caster does a rap, I don't know the references. It might just be a Long Island thing, so this didn't quite hit for me. But yeah, 2.0 set up a match with them and the Acclaimed, maybe against some jobbers, maybe against, I don't know, the Spanish Announce Project, who have a killer theme. So yeah, this feud has a ceiling when it comes to the matches. I think the segments matter more for a feud like this. So maybe they should try harder in making funnier scenarios with 2.0 and the Acclaimed, because you have like basically 4 great promos in one feud. Every one of these guys can talk. And then you have Billy Gunn and Jake Hager, or who are just like comedy gold at this point. So yeah, you need to do something more with this. This has the potential of being better than Matt Hardy and The Firm, because for that one, they ruined it in the match tonight. So yeah, after this is MJF Day, and am I watching the WWE? Like seriously, this sports entertainment segment was the best one of its kind that I've seen in a long time. The WWE are leaning into like serious melodrama while AEW has this. So yeah, so all of this is basically for MJF's Key to the City presentation by a counselor supervisor dude, and they started off with a video of them doing it in City Hall, and then a song number where MJF sings with full band support that I think the band had a little trouble keeping up with him. He sings Pennies from Heaven by Louis Primo, I think that's it. And man, I don't know the song, but MJF did it better. And this is just like another 20-minute, 15-minute MJF jack-off segment. Tony would just allow him to do whatever he wants. And yeah, he does deserve it because he spiked ratings this week. And he actually impressed the counselor man. I actually don't think he's gonna leave. Like, there's no one who puts over the company more than MJF. And like, there's no one else in the roster. And I don't even think anyone else in the WWE, unless you have Austin Creed do it, who can have like this full segment and not falter even once. He can wrestle, he can sing, he can dance. It's almost like a certain local hero, a certain person that I believe in. I believe in Joe Hendry. The man hits every note in his song, but when he goes to this one sax player to like have this part of the song where it's a back and forth, sax player gets flustered. I think his name is Adam. And MJF does not falter. He continues singing these nonsense phrases that Americans use. Ahai who's who to what? Inglag oogly. Like honestly, what does that even mean? And yeah, Louis Prima. I don't know. I'm a millennial. He does it so well that he impresses this counselor man who the crowd just boos. And I don't think he even cares for the company. He's just there because he probably get paid, and then he gets like some national attention. So much for that, he gets booed. But MJF like tries to cushion the blow by like putting him over. Like saying it's a very important thing for him, don't ruin it. But yeah, even Tazberry's the guy. He says the guy has a future being a heel manager. So I guess the real loser for this segment is this politician right here. And then MJF gets the crowd in the palm of his hands. He gets them to chant, "You deserve it," clap, 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 and ADD. And then he actually tells us a story with a moral lesson at the end. Like something with actual like advocacy. Because it's not just some like evil, I switched seats with a girl who sucked me off in the car so that she would get in trouble, or like any of that shit. It's actually like more MJF backstory that I think we have enough to make a movie out of. For this one, it's Mrs. Benedict, who's a teacher who would make fun of his ADD, and I think a lot of people, like there are a lot of teachers like this. I haven't encountered any, but maybe that's just because we're a lot nicer here. But yeah, fuck Miss Benedict. What a stupid bitch. And this promo like has actual substance, like compared to other promos by the likes of Austin, by the likes of early John Cena, or like basically by the likes of anyone in the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era. It's a lot more than just, don't give up in a vague term. Here it's very specific. And I guess that's what I like about promos these days. Even in WWE, there's a lot of depth in like everything they say. The Bloodline did it, but in a more story way, and then here in a more advocacy way. And by this point, this is segment of the night already. And then to end the segment, MJF makes his way to the stage where a suspicious new band member shows up. A symbolist who symbols MJF's left ear, tries to get him deaf. MJF gets mad at him, and then this has to be like one of the best reveals that I've seen. Like it's like not obvious at the start. This is how you make it not obvious. You have the person dressed like just inconspicuously, he blends in with the rest of the band, and have him like try to make a genuine mistake, but then it turns out to be on purpose, and then it turns out to be Jungle Boy. What a great reveal under a mask part. This whole segment was perfect. MJF is the best all-around performer in the company. Omega might be the best wrestler, but all around, MJF. And it's not even over. Like, they play this over to the next match. Because they're separated by security guards and Pat Buck and BJ Whitmer. Belt drops in the middle of the stage, and then guess who makes his entrance for his match? Sammy Guevara. Picks up the world title, raises it, MJF is fuming. He raises it in front of Jungle Boy's face, hands the belt to MJF, and then heads into his match. So yeah, again, I can't put this over enough. This is segment of the year so far for AEW. And it's even done at the right time. It's not too close to a pay-per-view. And it still builds up to the feud that you're trying to have be the main event of Double or Nothing. So yeah, great segment. Again, can't give it enough praise. And then as for the match between Sammy Guevara and Commander, so this is my predicted match of the night. It's an 8-minute show stealer that's packed with the high spots along with the connective tissue that connects each big spot by Commander into the next one. Unlike his match against Vikingo. Because here, like, Commander is sort of getting overly exposed. The only things he does are just dives off of ropes, off of turnbuckles. Like, I want the lucha exchanges. Have more of that and do less of the dives because it's starting to lose its value. Yes, I know that Commander can do the moves flawlessly, but I've seen them too many times. And can he go? If that was like taken out of the equation, like if he was in Bloodsport, could he go? It's just starting to get a bit repetitive. But yeah, like I said, Sammy Guevara's heel work made this match flow a lot better. Top 3 spots of the match. Number 3 is the rope cutter. That lands badly. Like, I don't think this was how it was supposed to go. Guevara goes for the cutter and then it flips over Commander in a like swanton motion on his back. Number 2 is the rope walk dive by Commander. This is really cool, but this too is starting to lose its value. And then for the number 1 spot, it's the rope walk to a forearm to a knee counter by Sammy Guevara. This one was sick. This was comparable to Ricochet's springboard moonsault to the outside at WrestleMania. So this is TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard. I enjoyed the first match the most, Jamie and Rijo next, and then this one. Sammy Guevara cuts a post-match promo, and it's a pretty good promo that was in the wrong place. The crowd wasn't about to let this guy just shit on their boy. And Sammy's promo is kind of bad because he breaks it up a lot with the word bitch or like the swears. He can't just cut a full, like, flowing, uninterrupted promo. He has to go bitch bitch. It's like Scary Terry from Rick and Morty. And it's also a babyface promo that goes heel, goes babyface, back and forth. But I like the point that he makes, where he says that your side of the pillar was built by the people you tricked to get here. I detect no lies. So at this point, I don't think the pillars are elevated enough yet. MJF, of course, he's champion. He beat Danielson, he's elevated enough. Darby, he's already elevated as well in his match against Joe, and then like just everything that he's accomplished. Guevara, not quite yet. If we were talking about Guevara post Cody Rhodes match, he would be like a main eventer. But now he's just like a henchman. He's heading up the card, but not quite there yet. And then Jungle Boy just needs some great matches. The one with Hardy's bad. Put him there with someone who can work. Like, put him there against Takeshita or something. But yeah, they're like making some good ground before we get to the pay-per-view, which is still like a long ways away. I think it's like still like more than a month away, like close to 2 months. So yeah. So after this is Hook versus Ethan Page, and here we go again. Just a fast Hook match that I guess wasn't a squash this time, since this is the most that Hook struggled. But can we just have Hook be in a normal match? The guy's obviously good at wrestling. He has the moves down. He would be a great like ground game sort of guy. A technical guy. Just like his dad, just like Benoit Angle. He's also getting a bit more definition. He's starting to outpace even Adam Cole and like the other upper mid carders. Not Pac though. This is also the most selling that he's done. So I guess if what happened didn't happen, Page would have won, but Page lost. So yeah, for the finish, Isaiah Cassidy goes for the distraction. Matt Hardy hands the FTW title to Ethan Page. They have a struggle, and then Matt betrays him. He hits him with the title, and then Hook locks him in the Red Room for the win. What a waste of a face turn, of a face betrayal. They had such a good thing going with this faction, and now I think, now that it's like pretty much over, Hardy and Cassidy don't have anything else to do. Quen's not there yet, and Jeff's not there. They were better off with the firm. And this wasn't even that impactful a moment to do it. That should have happened in like an All-Atlantic Championship match or like something more high stakes. This was a bad choice, and they just killed the feud. So yeah, the match was okay, but killing one of the best things you have is criminal, and that's a dark match right there. So after this is the announcement of All In 2 in Wembley Stadium. So yeah, Tony Khan still can't talk. He's very awkward. He's trying to read a teleprompter. He's not a natural at this, so he should have just used a Mouth of Sauron. Like, I think Nigel should have made this announcement. Instead, Nigel is just there to be like a face, like an interviewer guy. Nigel should have done more talking, especially since it's Britain we're talking about. I don't understand why he had to bring in Adam Cole. He could have brought in the guy who would actually main event the show. He could have brought in Will Ospreay. He could have brought in Kenny Omega. Like, just anyone. Preferably British. So I think it should have been Ospreay. But yeah, this is interesting since they picked Wembley Stadium instead of Craven Cottage, like I think what everyone expected. Craven Cottage can house about like 50,000 if stretched out to its limits, but I think in a wrestling show it's like 20 to 30,000. And I think that would have been like an easy leaf on the cap of AEW. Is that the right way to say it? Like, it would be an easy win for AEW if like you had Craven Cottage, because production costs would be a lot less and it would be easier to fill up. There's less chance of failure. Picking Wembley Stadium, the largest arena in the UK, and I think one of the largest in the whole world, is such an out of this world, incredibly risky, but also daring choice. I like the balls that went into this, but it's also kind of dumb. And I think everything needs to go like absolutely perfectly for the next couple of months until August. Like hell, I could have gone to the show if it wasn't on August. But yeah, they could have just picked a smaller stadium, man. Like, even if it was the O2 Arena, the Wembley Arena, or you know what, people don't say this enough. Tottenham Hotspur Arena. 60,000, it's in London, and it's new. It's like one of the state-of-the-art stadiums in the UK. So yeah, bright side is that Forbidden Door sold out in 30 minutes. But that's in America. In the UK, I guess you can argue that everyone in Europe is gonna go. But that's not 90,000. Maybe if we're being nice, 60,000 max. And they can use the excuse of having the setup limit the crowd. But yeah, like I said a while ago, everything has to fall in place. Like, stars have to align. Everything has to go perfectly, from the booking of the stories, from the alliance between multiple companies, from Japan, like most importantly from New Japan, from Noah, from Stardom, from Tokyo Joshi Pro, from Progress, from Eve, from ICW, from every promotion that the WWE did dirty. It should be like a worldwide thing, if they want even to scratch 60,000. And as for the main event, I know people have been saying Omega versus Punk, but honestly, have you seen Punk wrestle? I don't think he can keep up with Kenny. Kenny would have to like carry Punk through a match. I think it should be Omega versus Ospreay. But I think Ospreay should have been built since last year to an English crowd, because the guy comes from there. He's a Cockney, he's a Londoner. Shit. But he's from there and he should be like more well known, if we're being honest. If they can somehow make Will Ospreay a British celebrity in a span of 4 months, maybe you can hit 80,000. But yeah, as of now, I guess their best shot is to have Goldberg, but come on. That's like absolute desperation at that point. And I wouldn't have anyone job to him, so yeah. Maybe a Sting and Darby versus like a Goldberg and a Wardlow. That'll be so funny, but yeah. AEW are aiming for a number that the WWE has never reached in London before. And I don't think they can do it, but I hope they fucking can. So I can see all of the bitches move the goalposts again and like expose themselves this time. What a massive move by AEW. High risk, high reward. Oh yeah, and maybe have a concert. Maybe invite The Cure, or Blur, or like Oasis or Radiohead. Oh my god, Radiohead. So yeah, after this is the BCC match, and it's a squash. Thankfully, it's not established talent, just like Dalton Castle and the boys last time, which hurt me. So yeah, Danielson cuts a promo, and it's like nails on chalkboard. It's repetitive shit, and this just wasn't for me. I see that people like it because it's like a serious, passionate promo by Danielson, but he just says amateur, amateur. I love these guys. We're the true pro wrestlers in AEW. He just says that all the time, and it's like the worst part of Danielson's promo game. This is the absolute opposite of what he did post pay-per-view. I just couldn't sit through all of this. I like that they take out Hangman's Eye, but they just hammer in this amateur. You're everything that's wrong with professional wrestling. That's good, but just don't have it this repetitive. And it's like nails on chalkboard. They hammer it in, or in this case, they screw it in. Terrible. So I guess BCC are the true wrestling elitists, more than the elite are. So yeah. So after this is Guns versus FTR. Titles versus career. And the Guns come out with a special song that I don't know. I'm old, but I'm also a millennial. But it's better than usual. It's actually like kind of a banger. I need the title, please, in the comments. The match is basically FTR versus the Revival because the Guns have like full grasp of storytelling. Like that's the best aspect of their game. They just don't have the moves, even though they could. But yeah, when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to being the bread in a sandwich, like the people who will hold down the story together as they make the other team look really good, it's the Guns. They just hit all of the dramatic cues in the match. They do the ring cutting, they do the keep away, they even do like the Revival cheating that they used to do. It's like facing yourselves but lesser in an interdimensional match. So Guns cut the ring in half. They don't really do much damage. That's something the Guns can improve on. It's just their moveset. Just add in some more stuff. Because FTR just ate them for breakfast. It looks like the Guns were just hanging on the entire match. They were just trying to stay alive, and they managed to succeed at some point, but FTR are just so good. If they want to get to the next level, they have to find the movesets as well. Just like the Revival did. And this is going to piss people off, but they're in that right path. And it's odd that I talked more about the Guns than I did FTR in a match where FTR's careers are in the balance. And it was pretty obvious who was going to win this since FTR showed up at Double or Nothing. I don't think Tony Khan is like that stupid enough as you think, or as coked up as most uninformed people think, that he would have like people who are going to leave the company challenge for the titles. I know Cody did that, but Cody's special. So yeah, top 3 spots. Number 3 is the pedigree spot. It's a nice reference to FTR leaving the company. Number 2 is the cheating that the Guns do around Paul Turner, because Colton slides one of the tag titles to Austin inside, and then Paul Turner steps on it. Turner tries to get rid of it, but Colton has the other one in there ready. Austin hits Dax, throws the evidence away, and then near fall. This was like amazing. And like just having FTR's careers be in the balance helps the match's drama so much. And number 1 spot is the low blow, because this is the smartest, sneakiest way you can end FTR's careers. And I like that the referee is just like not a robot. The referee is a human being. He's not like the refs back in the day who just ruin matches because they call it like a shoot. Like, remember that match with Chris Benoit and CM Punk against Elijah Burke and Monty Brown? Yeah, that match that came up at the shorts, that was completely ruined by the ref. And I love referees' discretion. It keeps matches from getting cut short or ending in a stupid fashion. I think people have to get over themselves when this happens for the right reasons. This was an amazing choice. It built up to the drama, and it makes this match of the night. The finish is a bit sloppy though. So Dax tries to roll up Colton. Austin holds his hand, but Cash tries to like go for a dive on Austin. He can clearly see it in his peripheral vision, but he just doesn't move. Like, I think Colton would have kicked out of like a roll-up attempt. Instead, they were both rolled up. 1, 2, 3, FTR win. This is a pay-per-view undercard match. This was so good, and I want a rubber match between these two teams. If you want storytelling, this is it right here. If the Guns were more than just the Revival Jr., this could have been better. But we'll see what happens in the future. Thankfully, FTR stay with the company. Mark Briscoe comes out, congratulates them, and then that's how we end the show. What a great finish to such an average Dynamite. Yeah, this one was pretty average, match-wise. Segments-wise, MJF segment really carried this whole thing. So I guess it's above average in that department. But overall, it's just like slightly above average. This wasn't the best Dynamite of the year. They could have had a better crowd. But yeah, this episode was aight. So yeah, please stay tuned for my WrestleMania review, which will come maybe tomorrow. Things are getting busier, but that will be over soon in a couple of days. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe for engagement. Share if you don't know me. Hit that bell notification for future videos, and please watch my shit.